Section 6.6, Symmetry. And let's start off, let's take a look at this picture here, and this is in your book. It's the starfish, and what I want you to do is draw a line, you know, from the top of the starfish down through the starfish, kind of like this. And what would happen if I were to fold over that line? Would that match up? And I think most of you would say, oh yeah, that would match up. I'd get, you know, it kind of could cut that right in half right there. I want you to look at that starfish, and I want you to see how many other lines you could draw that would do the exact same thing. Okay, so take a minute and do that. All right, hopefully what you found out as you did that is, yeah, I could draw like that. I didn't quite get through the center on that one. I could draw that. I could draw here, and I could draw there. So I can actually create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines where I could cut it and fold it in half over that starfish, and it would kind of perfectly match up. Well, that is known as symmetry. When I can fold something in half like that, and it's identical on either side, that's known as symmetry. Now, think about this. If I take and hold this spot down right here, how far would I have to turn that now to make that thing look exactly the way it does right now? So think about that. So let's say I had this, and I want to turn this, and I'm not sure if this is going to work with my, well, we'll just turn it with, leave our lines there. How far do I have to go? It's not quite perfect because I've kind of moved here a little bit. Didn't quite draw it perfect. Let's see if we can't move this guy back. Come on. So it's just right in there. Just a little bit better. So you can see I can kind of match that up, and I had to turn it, you know, just a part of a way. And, you know, I can do that. I can turn that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You know, I can get that turned exactly the same place. You know, so if I can turn that in 4 ways, and we know that there's 360 degrees in a circle, so I can turn it 4 times and get it. Not 4 times, 5 times, sorry. If I can turn that exactly, there's 5 different places that I can do that. And so I turned it 4, but there's a total of 5, counting the first one that I started with. How many degrees did I have to turn that to get it to match up again? Well, divide 5 into 36. That goes in 7, 35, 10, and goes in 72. So I get it to match up again every 72 degrees as I turn that thing. So that's kind of a little bit of intro into some of the things that we're going to be doing here in this section. Let's take a look at here. So here's some more vocab words. We're talking about line symmetry and line of symmetry, and those are, you know, those are different. You know, this one has a word of in it, obviously. A figure has what we call line symmetry. Line symmetry meaning we can fold this thing in half, like Mike, you know, whatever this looks like, a kite or something right there. If I can fold it in half, that is known as line symmetry. And that line, that, you know, in other words, this green line that I just drew in there, that is known as my line of symmetry. So that would be where I would fold it at. So this first example has what we would call vertical line symmetry. Vertical meaning the up and down line. And so this one has vertical line symmetry. This one, you know, if I tried to, I can't find any way to draw a line like that and fold it across and make it match up, but I could draw it across here. If I go across there, that line will line up. All right, take a look at this one. Can I get any you know, line of symmetry? Can I draw anything like that? And you'll see that there isn't anything there that really matches up and gives me any good line of symmetry. Even if I try to, you know, if I think about this, you know, if I fold that over, this end is going to end up out here. It's just not, it's not going to match up perfect. So there's no line of symmetry on this last one here. So that one doesn't have any line of symmetry. Or take a look at this example, and we've got a whole bunch of lines of symmetry. It's kind of like our starfish. And so, you know, here we've got the vertical line that we did in the very first one, and we've got our horizontal line, but we also have some diagonal lines. I could just fold it right across there, and that would match up. I could fold it right across there, and that would match up also. So that one has a lot of lines of symmetry when we look at that one. All right, let's move on here. Let's take a look at our B. Okay, we want to decide, does it have line symmetry? Does the B have line symmetry? Is there a way that I can draw something? Not that way, obviously, but in this particular example, yeah, I could draw it. And once again, that's not a very good line. This one might be better here. I can draw right through there, and I would have good line symmetry. Okay, so it has one line of symmetry. It's a vertical line. So you're going to look and see on these next ones, do they have line symmetry? Do they have more than one? And if so, draw it, and draw all of them if there are more than one. So do those particular 3 examples down there. All right, let's take a look at those examples you got. In this first one, I think there's only one way that we can get this. If we draw right down that line there, that looks pretty symmetrical around it. I don't think this, this obviously wouldn't if we cross here. No, that one's not going to work. So there's no other one on that particular one. On the snowflake, we've got our good vertical line, but we've also got this line here that would work, and we've got that line right there. So there's 3 different lines of symmetry on that one. How about on this crab here? You could probably find one if his pinchers were the same size, but since they're not, there isn't any one on this one. So this one would be a no. There is no. Okay. All right. So let's talk now about rotational symmetry. Once again, more vocabulary, angle of rotation, rotational symmetry, all good terms. Get these in your notes. You need to have all your vocab written together. You should have a page with them all together so you can study those. All right, so let's take a look at this. A figure has rotational symmetry if it can be rotated or turned less than 360 degrees. And after you turn it, it looks exactly the way it did before. So we did that with our starfish. We found out that we could turn it 72 degrees and it looks exactly the same as what it did before. The degree measure, that is known as the angle of rotation. So for our starfish, it was 72 degrees. Let's take a look at these 2 figures, and let's go to my smartboard here and look at those 2 figures. And let's take a look at this first one here. So this is my original, so we're going to write original here. And I'm going to turn the other one and see how long does it take before it matches up with that one. So if I start to turn it, there's about 20, 30, there's 90 degrees. Does that match up? No, not yet. So let's keep on going. I keep turning it. Ah, there we go. I've turned it 180 degrees. I got it to match up. So for this particular one, I have to turn 180 degrees. That's my angle of rotation that I need to have for this particular symmetry. But it does have symmetry. It does have angular symmetry or rotational symmetry, and it is at 180 degrees. All right, let's take a look at this next figure. So here's my object, and as I start to turn it, let's figure out how long it takes before it matches up with the original. So I keep going, it's not quite, and right about there. So I ended up here, and I started here. If you kind of look at that, you can kind of see it's going to divide that circle into about 3 parts. It's going to match up again. So that's about 120 degrees. So for this particular one, 120 degrees would be my angle of rotation. And so yes, it does have rotational symmetry there. And, if you look at the book, and the book points out that a lot of these things, and I mean, you've seen this logo before over here. If I can get it right. Seen this logo. And, you'll see a lot of company logos that will be very symmetrical. They'll have certain amounts of rotational symmetry as they create those. They like to have those. I mean, it kind of has a good feel to it for a lot of those things. So a lot of those, they'll try to create those. All right, I think you're ready to start this section. So make sure, once again, get all your vocab into your notes. That's kind of a key thing in this chapter. You're going to find that to be a huge issue at the end of the chapter if you don't do that.